street photography is not totally a bed of roses. And in this video, I'm sharing 5 of the worst things that you can expect being a street photographer. Hey, I'm Dan. I've been a street photographer for around about 10 years now. I've traveled the world to multiple continents and made street images. My work have been in galleries, and I've written extensively about the topic for multiple publications in the online space. With my experience, I've come across 5 things that have made street photography not hard, but certainly challenging, and I'm going to share them all with you. Stick around until the end, because that's when I'll be sharing my main negative drawback to being a street photographer. Okay, so the first thing about street photography that is bad is that people are going to criticize you. There are people in the space, either if they're photographers or just normal people in society, that just don't like street photography.
No, sir, I don't like it.
They find it invasive, they think it is disrespectful, an invasion of privacy, and regardless of who you are and your intentions, people are going to criticize you just for practicing the art form. And it's one of the few genres, perhaps the only genre, where you will experience this. It's very rare you hear about people talking badly about landscape photography or portrait photography or wedding photography. But with street photography, they're always going to be people who've got something negative to say, and you are just going to have to accept that. There's no way around it. So even if you think to yourself, I'm not a bad person, some people will assume you are just because you practice street photography. You're not doing anything wrong. If you're respectful and you're out on the streets making images, you have the right to do that. Of course, have empathy for the people on the streets that you're photographing, but don't let the noise put you off picking up your camera, regardless of how loud the negativity is. So the second worst thing about being a street photographer is it's a huge disappointment. Aww. And that's just the truth. I mean, if you're looking to get out there and make banger after banger after banger each and every time you go on the streets with your camera, then the sinking feeling in your heart is going to be enough to put you off ever doing street photography again. So get comfortable with the fact that more often than not, you're not going to make incredible images. 2, maybe 3 absolute keepers per year, but the rest of it is going to be kind of mediocre, meh kind of imagery. And that doesn't mean to say they don't have value. They do. Probably more in the long run, but in the short term, you're not going to be getting that dopamine hit each and every time you go out and do street photography, because you have no control over what's going to happen on any given day. So just get comfortable with the idea that it's more about enjoying the process than celebrating the outcome. And if you have that mindset, then that kind of negative aspect of street photography won't be too difficult for you to handle. Okay, thing number 3. You won't be earning any money, maybe a little bit here and there somehow through prints, but for the most part, there's really no such thing as a professional street photographer. You know, no one's going out on Facebook groups and putting out calls to hire a street photographer. And yes, some of the most successful, popular street photographers may get gigs, but very few and far between is someone going to give you a bunch of money to go out on the streets and do as you please. It's just not happening. So if you want kind of a financial career in photography, perhaps wedding photography, portrait photography, a better path to take. But yeah, it's better to know now that you're not going to make much money from being a street photographer. It's more going to be about being in love with the art form and creating a body of work that you can potentially monetize through prints and photo books, as I say, but as a consistent stream of income, forget about it. So the 4th thing that's bad about being a street photographer is it's very repetitive. You can often go out, walk the same streets, see the same scenes, see the same people, and there's not much diversity over a long period of time. And this can become stale, and your enthusiasm to go out and make images can fade away, and you get into something that they call a creative rut, and it can end up being a case where your camera is on the shelf for a long period of time and you're no longer making street images. Now, a good way to overcome this is first, take breaks. You know, you may hear that you should always take your camera with you, and while there's value in that, there's also a lot of value in just taking a break from making street images. You can also focus on different genres, so you've still kind of got that creative buzz in relation to photography, or you can just go out and explore other areas of life and then come back with fresh eyes. You can also maybe go out on day trips, go to other cities and towns and small places you've never visited before, and that can give you a new kind of burst of enthusiasm to go out and make street photographs. So if you do feel that it's getting a bit repetitive and your heart's just not in it for a certain period of time, take a break, go somewhere new, and that'll keep the blood flowing for your love for street photography. Okay, so number 5, the worst thing about street photography, confrontation. You know, I said in the beginning that some people just don't like street photographers. Some people will go the extra mile and confront you about what you're doing. They'll get in your face, they'll have some kind of bad comments to go your way, and in very rare, but sometimes it can be the case, there will be a physical altercation. Now, I made a full video about how to deal and avoid street photography confrontation, so I would suggest going to check that out. But in the short form, just always keep your distance, always be respectful, and always communicate what you're doing in a very calm and balanced way, and that'll help diffuse any confrontation. But it can happen. It does happen. It's not an enjoyable part of street photography, but if you're in this for the long haul, then it's something you are going to have to accept. Okay, so those are the 5 worst things about street photography. That's just from my experience. I want to hear about yours. What do you find are the worst elements of being a street photographer? Let me know down in the comments below and let's get a conversation going. Of course, guys, if you did enjoy this video, then please do subscribe. It does help. Hit the like button as well because that pushes the video to more people, and tap the bell icon so YouTube notifies you when I next publish. And I've got a lot of videos coming up, so do keep tuned. Until the next one, I'm Dan. This is Them Frames. See ya.